Hey, welcome back to DIY Willy. We're gonna work on the Scion today. When I did the control arms, I noticed a couple things, and well, I just want to fix them before they become a problem. I really didn't see much out there on this fix or on these parts. I did try to do a lot of research just to find the part number for these parts, and even Toyota wasn't much help. So I ended up doing a lot of reading and searching online to find these parts, the correct parts. So let's take a look at what we're going to do. So inside here, it's kind of hard to see because it's under the cover, but there's a hose that runs from here to the intake right here on the intake tube. And when I was putting it back together, this hose cracked. And what it can do when it cracks is it can allow air to get in on this side, sucked into the engine after the mass airflow sensor. So that will cause some chaos with the computer. That could cause it to throw a code, meaning like a rich condition or lean condition or something like that, because there's more air inside the engine than what's being metered by the airflow, by the mass airflow. So it's not good to have cracked hoses on any engine, really. It's not causing a problem at this minute. It's working fine. However, I don't want it to cause a problem. So I also picked up the PVC hose on this side. I believe it's right here underneath this cover. We're going to get this cover off in a minute and you'll see it more clear. But I found the right part. This goes to the intake hose. This is ventilation hose number 1. But you can see the number 12261-28180. Ventilation hose number 1. And the other one is technically ventilation hose number 2. That one I just picked up off Amazon. This was the part number for it. Here's the hose. Came with a new PCV valve. You know, we might try to put that one on right now, or we may not, don't know. But we got to get the top plastic cover off, and that's literally just 2 10mm nuts right there, acorn nuts. Take the cover off and it shows the hose right away, and I'll show you the crack on it when I get that off. Alright, as I was saying, to take this cover off, we've got 2 10mm acorn nuts on here, and pretty simple to take off. The cover just lifts right off, just like that. I'm just going to place it up here out of the way. And this is the hose right here. You've got the other hose right here on this side, and you got this one right here. And this one cracked right here as it comes on to the little fitting that's on, comes out of the valve cover. It cracked right there. To make it work, I put the hose clamp on there as best I could, and I put a zip tie to kind of hold the hose closed, hoping that it would work as long as I could to find a replacement. And believe it or not, it was really hard to figure it out. I went through a lot of different internet searches, some forums, everywhere. There were so many different part numbers for these hoses that it was really hard to figure it out. But I got it, and this is the reason I'm doing this video. Hopefully it helps somebody to identify this problem. And these hoses seem to crack here often, right here when you put them back on, and that's exactly what happened. After doing the control arms and putting the engine back in place, I put the air box back in, and I put the hose on, and it went crack right across there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and change this hose before it becomes a problem. Getting a new one, it's probably dry anyway, it's kind of crispy, so that will prevent any further problem with the air going into the engine and keep things the way it should be, sealed up tight. Now this one's pretty easy. I can just push it like that and it goes right all over. Same thing with the bottom one. These are pretty easy clamps, and we'll just pull it off. I'll see if I can take it off the bottom one first without damaging things. Or no, maybe not. Maybe I'll go ahead and just pull it off the top one. You see the crack right there. I got that zip tie pretty tight. I should just take that zip tie off. There we go. That did a lot. That helped it. But it was holding the hose on too. There we go. That way we just pull it off. Now we're going to reuse these clamps. I'm just going to set them up there out of the way. There's 2 different sizes. The smaller one goes on the bottom, the bigger one goes on the top. This hose is really crusty. It's dry. This is a 2015, so that's why this hose looks the way it does. It's dry and it's ready to be changed anyway. So yeah, it's best we got a new one. It's too bad it was so hard to find, and of course it was like a special order hose. So they're like, well, that's not the right hose and you can't return it. Well, tell me it's the right hose. You know, just don't tell me that. Make sure I get the right part. That's why I went to the dealer, right? Now I probably could have got just a piece, maybe a 5/8 hose, and did the same job, and that might have worked. Because this was about $45 for this factory part. Yes, it's got the insulation on it, and it's got the cool curve in it, but honestly, it's just a vacuum hose, or like a vent tube, they call it. So probably could have just used a piece of 5/8 hose. But we got the factory part, and it'll work. Pretty simple. We're just gonna put the clamps back on. The smaller one goes on this side, remember? And the larger one goes on this side. Just like that. And then we just squeeze it on. Now you could clean this area up. Actually, it comes right off. And I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah, you can clean the area up, make for a tighter fit. It's just an oily substance that builds up on the part. That way you get no leaks, you know. Make sure it's just nice and clean. Get rid of it. You can see the oil inside, you know, because this is engine crankcase vapor case, you know. The vapor travels through here, part of the emission systems, and then goes into the intake and is reburned. So you could also put a little bit of a soapy solution or something on these hoses to get it to go on easier. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, somebody's not happy. But yeah, it's real simple install. This is the hose, it goes in this direction. All right, so there you go. Here's where we're gonna put it on. There's the intake. On the intake tube, you just squeeze it on, put it on right there, put the clamps over. It's got a little lip on it to hold the hose. And of course, this one that we cleaned up just pushes right over and push the clamp over. I put a little bit of saliva on the inside. That's nature's lubricant, works good. To just slide over. See if I can do it with one hand. Yeah, just slides over, it kind of bottoms out on the fitting down there. See that? Just kind of bottoms out. This is the one I want to be careful because this is the one that cracked. Wow, just like that. You see that? That was perfect. Squeeze the clamps on. I need two hands to get the clamps on. This hose is a little fatter. The other one was kind of swollen or kind of shrank and cracking and dry. I'm gonna go ahead and get these clamps put on. And then, there we go. Just like that. Put it right after the bulge. See that? Right before the bulge. Right there. That'll hold that clamp on there nice. Keep a nice tight seal. Same with this one on the bottom. You can kind of see the bulge. Walk on over, walk on over, walk on over. Yeah, just like that. Okay, we got it. Now we just put it back together. Oh, we're gonna look at the other one. I forgot. Let's take a look at the other hose. Just goes to show how brittle these old hoses are. Just taking it off and pulling it off, it cracked all up the side right there. See that? That's how bad these hoses are. And the more you try to put it back on, the more it cracks. So yeah, I guess it's a good thing I'm taking these off. The bottom one down there, it just pulls right off. It's got a lot of oil in it. I'm gonna go ahead and change the PCV valve since it came with a new one anyway, and clean up the area. Now I did spray some WD-40 just to make the hose clamp slide over a little bit easier. But yeah, we're definitely gonna change out these dried out crusty hoses. Now the new one doesn't come with so much insulation. I don't know, maybe I can take the insulation off and put it on the new hose. But I mean, it does come with a section of insulation. Maybe that's good enough. So let me get this area cleaned up and we'll get the new hose ready to go on. Okay, get the clamps off. Here's one, the bigger one on the bottom. And no, oh yeah, the insulation is coming off. So we could possibly put the insulation on the new hose, maybe. Let me see. Yeah, it's coming off of there. I like the bigger insulation better. It just pulled right off. And we'll stick the original insulation on. I think I'll put a little WD-40 in it though, just to make it go a little easier. Now let's see if we can get this in there. Perfect. Yeah, just like that. Fit on there now. It looks like original. This hose was really dry, crispy already, just like the other one. Oh, we can put the clamps on it. That's interesting. Well, we'll fight it, but we'll get it in there. Put the clamps on and get it ready to push back on. However, I think I'm gonna go ahead and change out that PCV valve, since the hose did come with a new one. Hopefully it's good. I'm gonna save the old ones here in case this one is just cheap China junk. So there's the new PCV valve. I'll use that to match up the looks like maybe a 17 millimeter or 19 millimeter, and I'll get it out. All right, boy, was I wrong. That wasn't a 17 or a 19 millimeter. It was 22 millimeter. We're just gonna go ahead and get it out right here. Take a look. Take a look at it. Oh man, it's pretty dirty and crusty looking. That might be a good deal change. Looked like they had a little bit of thread sealer on there. I don't have any thread sealer. Very similar. I hope it's the right one. But we'll get it in there and we'll try it. We'll definitely give it a try. Maybe if it's in the right one. If this isn't the right one, maybe I can just clean this one up. Get it good and tight. I don't know any torque specification. The YouTube one, yeah, I give it a couple of good click click kind of deals, you know. That works, but it was a 22 millimeter for that PCV valve. Oh, these kids are screaming out here. At least they're having a good time, right? That's what matters. I'm gonna spray a little WD-40 in here again, just to make it slip over easier, and we'll be good to go. I'm gonna try to do the back one first. This is probably gonna be the hardest one. I may be wrong. And it's kind of hard to show it. There we go. Move the clamp down. There. Well, that wasn't bad. Now we can just slide the clamp down on it. Where's my needle nose? Work that clamp better. There we go. There we go. I like it. Now I'll fit it over the top one, just like so. Put it all the way on till the bottom's out. Fit that clamp. Just like that. There we go. Both new hoses installed. Looking good. Looking really good. All right. I got a little cut on my finger. All right. All right, there it is. It's installed. It went on pretty easy. Both of them. Got the old PCV valve out and the new one installed. Got the clamps on, the hoses. Got that new, used the original stock insulation over the hose instead of the smaller piece. Probably wouldn't have mattered, but I just put the original one back on. This one's in. This is hose number 1, and that's hose number 2. So now we replace both those vent hoses, and why don't we just put it back together? Put the valve cover back on. Oh, those kids are screaming. There we go. I did it with one hand. Put the valve cover back on. I got the bolts here. And put everything back together. Click the wrench. Run them down. Hose replacement complete. So, looking at the part numbers again, this was hose number 2 that came with the PCV valve, and I picked it up off Amazon. I'll put the links in the description. This was hose number 1 that I bought from the Toyota dealer. Now this was an expensive piece, and I did see some out there that were ranging from $30 to $50. I think I paid like $52 or $55 or something like that. At least I know it fit. You possibly could use a piece of regular hose, maybe 5/8 hose or something, to go from each place, and probably be a lot cheaper. But this has all the shape to it, plus the insulation on it. So yeah, that's all good. I'll put all the links in the description. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, DL Willy. And come back for more on the Scion XB, my Nissan Frontier, the Chevy Silverado, the Baja Bug behind us, and all the fun stuff that we do. So I'll see you next time. Bye.